It's on. It's red.
Red, okay, okay, same as the cell phone.
Yes.
I gotta get used to that.
And then yeah, on.
This time I'll call to order the Solano College, Community College District Governing Board meeting of February 19th, 2025. Please join me in the pledge to the flag. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call the roll.
President Honeychurch,
Here.
Trustee Cargo Reed,
Here.
Trustee Kara,
Here.
Trustee Wynn Greer,
Here.
Trustee Thurston, Trustee Young,
Present.
Trustee Boyce,
Here.
and Student Trustee Sharini Boston is
The next item is approval of the agenda. There are apparently an edit. There's an edit. Item 13G, a change order for the construction services of the building 800 EMT has been pulled from the non-consent agenda. So is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I second.
Please, go ahead.
Okay. I move that we that we amend the minutes for our December let me get myself together. For our last meeting, February the 5th meeting, the agenda needs to be amended. And that has to do with the items from the board. I forgot the number on it, but it's items from the board. When the student trustee made her remark, amend the minutes so it will reflect the remarks of the student trustee. She made a comment about the help me out because the sanctuaries campuses. After she made her personal remark, she read remarks from the students. She added onto the list that the students made when they gave comments from the public. When the trustees made her remarks, she did the personal ones and remarks also from other students on campus. So I move that the minutes be reflected to include her comments, personal comment, and also the other student comments that were made. She continued to list, if you recall, the other students got before the mic and they gave and the comments from the public, a lot of comments from various students on campus. And the student trustee, when she gave her remarks, she continued that list. But the list of those students she mentioned are not part of the minute. Neither are her comments part of the minute. You understand that? I have it written down.
I do. And is there a second to the motion to add this to?
To amend the minutes.
Amend the minutes to add this to the record of that meeting. All right?
yeah, it is. I don't think I don't.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, because yes, we're looking in the agenda here and
The
there's
student comments that's in the minutes are the ones that the students got before the mic and mentioned.
No, these are the survey.
But they should be underneath items from the board because they were not given at that time. They were not given from the public when those students spoke. You follow me? When the student trustee spoke, she spoke under items from the board. So what she said is supposed to be listed on the items from the report. Robert Rules of Order. That's when she made her comment.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think that's accurate. I think she made her comments during when we
No,
had
she
open
did not.
discussion on that item. Like, and they are included. Like, here, I know she isn't here to speak for herself, but I don't think what happened.
We'll make,
But it'll be included in the minute.
Listen to the tape on that one. Listen to the tape on that one, okay?
Okay, but
Because she
in
made
any
a
event, it's
comment that
included
as a
in the
student
record.
trustee, she doesn't speak
So that,
on certain issues, but she would like to say blah, 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 and she continued her remarks. That's when trustee Carr asked her to give her a copy of what she said. You remember she asked for a copy of what she had said.
so, Superintendent President,
So I think I will read the, and I think I have that way.
so Amory Young made a motion
So the
to
minutes are
include
recorded,
the
right?
comments
Meeting's
in
recorded.
the minutes from the last meeting. So is there a second to allow that?
Yes, I second that. Thank you,
Because moved and
trustee.
seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. So these, her comments and and the other items you mentioned will be included in the official record. All right. There's a motion to approve the agenda in a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next is comments from members of the public on the closed session items. There is no request to speak. And now we'll move into closed session and resume the regular meeting at 7 p.m. So, welcome everyone. At this time, we'll reconvene the regular meeting and report of action taken in closed session. And there was no action taken in closed session. So now it's time for comments from members of the public, if there are any. And there are, Jim Duclos, our foremost biotech person. Thank you.
Luckily, they had the good sense to put young, attractive biotech students rather than faculty, although faculty is on the end. I wanted to announce a few updates for the biotech program. We are in year 3 of our $3 million California Institute of Regenerative Medicine, and we've almost placed all 10 of our CIRM scholars in internships over the summer. Our previous CIRM scholars have gotten jobs mainly in the places where they did intern, and I have to say that they come back transformed. Also, remember that it was in 2015 that we went to Sacramento for our bachelor's degree, and remember that the first cohort graduated in 2019, and that we are now inducting our 10th cohort, and we have doubled since we began. So time marches on, and we have expanded, and now that program is not only perfectly codified here, but we have shepherded and mentored 3 other colleges in the state in order to start a clone of that program. We are also helping other colleges in other fields, and we're going to launch a major new program recently. You probably know that we have a presence across the United States. So as an example, I was the keynote speaker for a conference in New Orleans this morning. I didn't go there because I couldn't make it back in time. But anyway, we're mentoring colleges all around the United States. And that's my report. So go home and go online, thereporter.com, and you'll see us there. Thank you. Vallejo, we have classes in Vallejo, and we're going to have a major recruitment festival in Vallejo in May.
Yes.
March.
Oh, which is it? March or May for the Vallejo?
It's in March.
March.
Or is it
In March. Gigantic.
Yeah.
Top priority.
No question.
Yes.
Thanks.
It's a big focus, right?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So we're working
Thanks.
with other members of the community, and again, a special shout out to my colleague, especially a special shout out to Susan Wheat, who we couldn't do the accounting of the grant without her. So, and thank you for your support.
All
over
right.
the years.
Thanks to Jim Duclos for your great work you're doing. So please stay with us.
Trustee,
Why not? All right, at this time, go ahead. Avery Young's recognized.
I have a question to ask. Dr. Butler, will an article be in the Vallejo paper about the biotech program, one that we referred to a moment ago, in all local newspapers?
So the event that he referred to that is happening in May, we will be promoting it.
Okay, so the article they had in the paper that he referred to, other papers will also carry.
Maybe.
Maybe,
We
okay.
don't know because it's currently in the Vacaville paper. They can pick it up.
We are interacting. I've been on the advisory committee for their Vallejo High School biotech since it was in Hogan High when there was a Hogan. So
Right.
it turns out to be decades. And we're interacting with Jess Bethel as well.
Okay.
And we are also interacting with, our,
Vallejo High?
it's on our radar, we know it.
Okay.
It's just, we spent all that money on all that equipment in Vacaville. And so we are, offering prerequisites in an effort. Bring them into the program and going to have.
Yes.
Correct.
Because I'm interested in the public knowing about what we're doing with the biotech program.
Thank you, Professor DeClos. We are out of order currently.
Yes.
So I will make sure that we have a report or a study session in the future, so that we
Okay,
can
very
more
good. Thank you.
information.
All right, thank you. Thanks for your report. And are there any other further requests to speak on public comment? If not, we'll go to reports, the first of which is the Associated Students of Solano College. Is there, which I don't see a representative.
There
Oh, there, good.
they don't.
So welcome.
Good evening, President Honeychurch, Superintendent President Butler, and the board. I hope you guys had a long, nice weekend. I hope you're having a nice week so far. As you know, I've been coming here as well as my legislative advocate, AJ Matthews, to give you updates about what the Associated Students of Solano College has been doing. But I'm very happy to introduce Veronica Rodriguez, our governing board senator. For the past couple of weeks, we've been doing our best to go around campus to make sure that we are giving all students an opportunity to know what ASSC does and give them the opportunity to join if that's what they wish to do. As governing board senator, Veronica will represent the ASSC and student body through her reports to the governing board. So far, we are having her, this is her first day, she's gonna try it out. I'm very excited for her. She's going to be reporting the events that we've been doing this past month. But before, I just wanted to mention that on March 10th, we'll be going to the Vallejo campus to have a club promo. And then March 24th, we'll be going to the Vacaville campus to have an open house as well as Academic Senate Joshua Scott.
Good evening, Governing Board President Honeychurch and Superintendent President Butler and the board. My name is Veronica Rodriguez, and I am the Governing Board Senator in ASSC. On the report that I have for this past month is that in the first week of February, we did a movie week that showcased important Black history films each day inside the cafeteria. And on February 13th, we hosted a poetry slam event with keynote speaker Alex Lacoste, who is a disability justice educator at BIS. Students were able to recite their own poetry, and we gave them a space to express themselves through their literature. And through February 24th and March 9th, we will be having an art gallery featuring Liberty Pearson. She is a Vallejo-based visual artist, graphic designer, and educator. With classroom visits, we collaborated with teachers to showcase what ASSC is, and we encourage students to join in by sharing our own experiences of what it's like to be in the club, and also with the events that are happening on campus as well. So we now proudly have many senators in ASSC, and that can engage and make Solano a place that welcomes any and all. And that is a
Right, thank you. Thank you for the report. Are there questions or comments? All right, thanks to both of you. Sorry?
Thank you so much for your information and being active to let the students know that this club is there and what you do, and to support the students and encourage them. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Next report is the Academic Senate. Joshua Scott's present.
Good evening, Trustee Honeychurch, President Butler, members of the board. Yeah, so one thing kind of piggybacking on what the ASSC just shared, they came to our Senate meeting last week. We've really been trying to work together and visit each other's meetings, really try to find common cause, collaboration. One item that they brought to us, which I think is quite concerning, is the cost of textbooks. You know, one senator actually shared having spent almost $800 on textbooks for the semester, right? That we, as a college and certainly at the state level as well, have done a lot of work to create, in many cases, free tuition for our students, but the really expensive piece is the cost of textbooks, and this has been true for many years, ever since even I was a community college student, 25 years ago, something like this. So we're working on it. You may have heard, you know, we have librarian Atticus Frey, who's our zero textbook cost coordinator, with really collaborating with both the Spanish department and anthropology department have really worked to make those completely zero textbook cost programs. There has just been a new set of funds coming in from the chancellor's office for have another round of this. Additionally, we're continuing to talk. We had quite a lengthy conversation at our last meeting about just different strategies and ways to lower the costs. You know, there are specific disciplines where they can really feel that the sort of freer or cheaper options out there really are sacrificing something as far as content and clarity of instruction, right? So there's a balance that I think a lot of faculty are trying to walk, but clearly we don't want to be in situations where students are paying deeply into the triple digits for their textbooks for the semester. So it was a good, difficult, but I think really rewarding conversation and a good way for us to really be collaborating. I know you're also quite familiar, but we've been really working on looking at some of the findings from the accreditation report, especially the two that focus on RSI, or regular and sustained interaction, on our online courses, and also looking at assessment and faculty engaging in assessment of SLOs. Both of these we've been meeting with the coordinators for those two areas, as well as union representation, administration, trying to really figure out a good plan where we can really take advantage of this opportunity as well to make sure that the quality of contact is happening, that there's real clarity around what those definitions should look like, and that administration as well as faculty are really sort of trained and prepared to make sure those classes are working well for specifically our online classes. And similarly with assessment, really wanting to make sure that the assessment of our courses and what's happening those is meaningful to faculty, and that really does translate to something that's going to work well for students. We've also been taking on a few new issues that have come up on the Senate's radar, specifically developing a sort of expanded task force looking at credit for prior learning. This is something that gives students an opportunity to get credit for prior learning, as the title right there, right? So it's a chance for, if they've already completed, whether it's through years in the workforce or training in other places, a chance for them to get credit and kind of sometimes jump into a program a little further along. And so wanting to make sure that we have a clear process in place, that this is clear to students, it's clear to faculty, and that it is easy to access. We're also talking about, you may have heard some of this before, but continuing to build, and we've now, we're working to identify faculty on the representation for the compressed calendar. I'm not sure if you've heard about this, but this is a possible idea where currently our semesters can be 18 plus weeks in some cases, or 16 and a half weeks usually of actual contact days, which is longer than many other colleges. And sometimes this can actually, well, there's different theories out here about what exactly this does. But there's a potential that these extra long weeks can become a burden sometimes in the final weeks of the semester. But there's also faculty who clearly see the value in the extra contact time in labs and elsewhere. And so we're really trying to create a really kind of comprehensive group to really look at this from lots of angles, to really understand the student perspective, faculty in different perspective, different areas of campus, as well as from staff. As well as we're really trying to look at this and think about it. You'll be hearing more about this, I'm sure, over the coming months. And finally, we are coordinating with students at the ASSC on their Club Promo Day in Vallejo on March 10th. We're also having a Senate meeting in Vallejo on the same day. We're going to be getting a tour of our ATEC center before that, which will be open to students as well as faculty to learn more about our auto tech program. Our very own Chip Reeves, our senator, will be leading that tour. And then Brandon Carrera will also be giving us a tour of the Vallejo Center and telling us a little bit more about how our things are going there, you know, as far as learning more about which students are enrolling, what their success looks like there, and hearing from students specifically about what they appreciate about the Vallejo Center and also what we could do better. That concludes my report.
All right, thanks for your report, Professor Scott. Questions?
Yeah, I do have one. I just wanted to echo, thank you for taking textbook costs seriously. It's in our goals too to expand dual enrollment offerings, and many K-12 institutions don't want to take on a dual enrollment if they have to cover $1,000 textbook, right? Like per student. So it limits our ability to grow with some dual enrollment too. So we find even things like teachers committing to allowing for the same edition for multiple years can help, because old editions are cheaper online, and you can find cheaper things, or other things like that. So there's lots of. So thank you for exploring and looking at open resources. It's a big thorn still.
It is. It's a real challenge. And yeah, that's exactly the sort of other strategies. It really feels like there's going to be a lot of different strategies depending on the department area issue. But, getting older editions of textbooks is certainly one way to do it, as well as trying to find ways to get sets of books and things like this.
Trustee Carla?
We've been talking about textbooks for a long time now. So if students are coming and saying they have a problem with textbooks, that means we're not doing our job. I'm sorry, I was under the impression that it's a priority. Is it not a priority?
I'm not sure who you're asking.
I'm asking the
The superintendent should answer your
Yeah.
question.
All I'm saying is that I seem to remember that we had money for the staff and faculty to work toward doing something about cost. And now we've got a bigger problem, because as inflation happens, I'm sure those books are even more expensive now.
And what we could do is have an information item. So there have been grants from the Chancellor's Office for zero cost textbooks and open educational resources. And the first wave was to develop kind of some content, and now they're trying to build out kind of what is available. What Professor Scott is referring to is that there are a host of classes where we don't currently have some options, so we can make sure working with.
Can we, no hassle, but hassle, because for the last 6 years that I've been here, we've been talking about it. And all I know is that it is, if you're young and you're already trying to get an education and get a job and pay for food and pay for $800 book, whatever, it's $800? No, not a book. I would imagine.
That was an example of the total cost for a student for all their classes, which is absolutely too much.
It's rent.
It's what?
It's rent.
Rent, yeah.
Exactly.
So we can provide an update in
Please.
the future, and we're currently working on other options to provide students kind of book vouchers in addition to looking at open resources.
Please, I say this all the time, and we say it all the time. Let's just get it off our table and do it.
It's going to take time.
Not 6 years, surely.
All right, thanks for your comments. And I think we'll get a report back from the superintendent. The next meeting, or soon after?
I will work with VP Williams to get a report on where we are currently.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thanks for your inquiry. All right, now sorry, you have a question? Pardon me? Go ahead.
Hi,
You have a quick question.
Quick question real quick. Thank you so much. You had mentioned that you're doing a tour at the Vallejo Auto Tech. I'm sorry, I did not hear the date. When is that?
That is also on March 10th, the same day that the students are having the club promo day. We're having a Senate meeting that afternoon, so there's going to be a tour around 2:00 in the afternoon on that day.
Thank you.
I believe I think we should confirm with them, but I believe, yes, they would love to have you.
So this is the first time I'm hearing of it, so I'll find out and I will work with the board to.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your report. I appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you. Next item is the College Governance Council and Superintendent's Report by Dr. Kelly Butler.
So for college governance report first, we've met Wednesday, January 22nd, where the committee discussed several board policies for updates to be in compliance with league language, and then also academic affairs updates that were made in collaboration with our faculty. We also looked at the immigration policy that's coming to the board in the next meeting to be in compliance with Senate Bill 54, the information item that we had last board meeting. At the Wednesday, February 12th meeting, the committee received the second quarter budget update, and then we also discussed a draft of the strategic plan, the college strategic plan. The draft plan will be presented to college stakeholders, so making it rounds to the different stakeholder groups, and it will also be presented before the board for review. So it looks like it may be slated for June review and then approval later. For the superintendent president updates, the first item is enrollments. Enrollments are strong. We are currently at a head count at census at 9,040 students, compared to 8,651 students last year. FTES at 3,058 compared to 2,907 last year. So things are looking good this spring. February has been a busy month, as the students and the academic senate have shared. We have celebrated several events for Lunar New Year with our Asian Pacific Islander, Native Hawaiian students, as well as with our Black History programs across campus. And then there have been several programs providing information regarding our undocumented students, support, and Know Your Rights. The third item that I wanted to mention is just giving update on the executive orders that have been coming forward, just sharing that we are monitoring the executive orders that have been coming down that potentially have an impact on California community colleges. In the CEO and CIO, which are the academic affairs instruction officers, and the CSSOs, who are the student services officers. All of our different constituencies have been having conversations about how the executive orders could potentially have an impact. The California Community College State Chancellor's Office has advised colleges really business as usual until we hear otherwise, but also for colleges to use their discretion as things change and monitor current events while also consulting legal counsel. Lastly, the Solano Community College Educational Foundation Crab and Shrimp Feed fundraiser is on March 1st here at the Fairfield campus. Visit the website for tickets. And that concludes my update.
All right, thank you for your report. Any questions?
Spread out on the 3 campuses and not being able to get to another campus in time for a course because they might be in Vallejo and the other course they need might be offered in Vacaville. Have there been any concerns from students about that type of situation?
So I'm going to let VP Neely respond. I will say really quickly, we just today in our management team meeting had discussions around how we support those students.
Right, those students.
And that's a very good question, because that's been something that has been a bit of a challenge for students in different ways over the years. But we are very excited to have a really wonderful partnership with Solano Transit Authority. Dr. Butler, myself, and Damian Hanson, who's our Director of Workforce Grants, we attended the board meeting last week, SBA's board meeting, where they unanimously agreed and approved our contract for a shuttle service in between all of our campuses. So right now, the shuttle service is a pilot program that will launch on April 14th, so it's the day after students get back from spring break. And it will travel between the Vallejo Center, the Automotive Technology Center, the Fairfield campus, and then separate shuttle will travel from the Fairfield back and forth to Vacaville. So a student could conceivably take classes on all of the centers in a single day in terms of using the shuttle service. So we're really excited. We're going to have a lot of feedback from students in terms of need, ridership, times of days, et cetera. We have a lot of flexibility with this contract, so they're able to put on more vans should we need it, to adjust schedules and really sort of respond to student footfall on traffic and how they utilize it. So we're excited. I think this is potentially a game changer for the campus in terms of exactly what you speak about. Students have the ability now, in an easier way, to be able to travel between the centers. The vans will be for us to use. We can wrap them with Solano branding, so it's really nice. It really feels like our inter-campus shuttle. But it's been a wonderful supportive relationship, and STA has been really excited about this and sees this as certainly something that we're doing to expand equity and opportunity for our students.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Go ahead, trustee. Oh, thank you so much there, VP Neely, for that. I'm really excited for the students to be able to hear that there's this opportunity. Two questions is, how are we getting the word out to the students so that they're aware that there's this opportunity? And two is, are we going to be tracking it within like a 6 month to a 1 year period to see like the effectiveness of it so that we are aware that students are taking advantage of this opportunity?
Yes, so the first question, well, in the reverse order. So yeah, there'll be a tracking mechanism. So part of it is that students can either just show up at the assigned stop and get on the shuttle, or they can actually, through an app on their phone, they can also schedule ahead. So we're going to be trialing that and seeing how that works in terms of, again, need and traffic. Students also, every time they get off the shuttle, they have an opportunity to provide feedback in terms of the usefulness, the timeliness, all of those kinds of things. So we're going to be very much tracking that. We'll be meeting with STA, I think, bi-weekly right at the beginning of the pilot project, because they're very interested as well. So they'll be tracking data. And so we can look at that both in terms of the qualitative feedback that students have about this general experience, but also looking at numbers and kind of really understanding scheduling, and also how that impacts whether we're looking at groups of classes at particular centers where there might be an increased need, but equally, where can we maybe expand classes because we now have the ability to shuttle students back and forth. Oh, in terms of, sorry, the publicity, we're working with our PIO on a whole campaign. So there'll be a kind of whole social media campaign around that and really building some excitement. We were even thinking possibly some kind of a student competition to name the shuttle, because of course it will be branded with our own college branding. So I think it'll be a nice way to raise a lot of awareness and hopefully excitement. So far, we've talked to students, and anecdotally, they're very thrilled that this is going to be a possibility.
All right, sounds fantastic. Go ahead, Trustee Kara.
Students?
They pay a fee for transportation and part of their student tuition, but yes, they'll get an on and off the shuttle for free.
So
no additional cost.
equivalent to the parking fee, so how much is the fee then? If it, the only fee I know is the parking fee we charge.
I think it's about $17.
$17?
Yeah.
A semester or a year? $17
Semester, yeah.
And they have total access
Absolutely.
to the, okay. And staff do our...
Absolutely. That's an opportunity as well. So we'll sort of see how this works. But this is a pilot, so I think we're really interested in kind of gaining some traction, seeing how it works and being able to be flexible. And STA has confirmed the fact that they want to be flexible with us. So if we find that there's ridership that changes, we need to pivot, add vans, take away vans, whatever, I think they've been incredibly supportive in that regard.
And the time frame, is it from, I mean, how late does it go? For example, you're here after our board meeting, can I get on a bus and go to Vallejo?
I think our initial pilot, we're fine-tuning these precise schedules, but essentially we're going to pilot for sort of mostly daytime because we don't have as many evening classes, but we're very aware that that's something we want to make sure that we think about, and also looking at maybe we can cover at least getting folks back to whatever campus they started at, so kind of thinking that through. And STA is very good because they run a number of different programs with Share Mobility, and so they have a lot of expertise in this area in terms of kind of helping predictably understand which kinds of circuits will work, but we're going to try what we can and then grow from there.
Because also there's the idea that they want to come to the library, for example. on weekends or in evenings. So can we think about making sure that those shuttles are available when the library is open, for example?
Thank you.
One more question. What? I said one more
I
question.
said, I'll make it real quick. Thank you so much. I did read that report. That is exciting news. I have one question. Are the vouchers still available as well if students qualify? There was talk, I believe it was a year and a half ago, that if they couldn't get on the transit, that there was vouchers for transportation available through our website. Is that something that we're still doing or no? Or?
So it's not through our website, it's through STA. So when this is, it's the Uber or rideshare. So the rideshare vouchers, and this actually came up in the meeting that VP Dealey and I attended because there were a couple consultants who were doing an assessment and audit of STA. And so the feedback is that the riders don't know how to find that information and that they need to make it readily available on the website. So there were riders who were long-term riders who knew about it, but students or others who are new to public transportation weren't aware. So we can work to see what they do and then report back.
All right, thanks. Well, we're going to move on now to the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered by the board to be routine and will be enacted by the board in one motion. There's no discussion on these items prior to the time the board votes on the motion unless members of the board, staff, or the public request specific items to be discussed or removed. Time will be provided before the vote for clarification questions without removing an item from the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
All right, thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We're on to non-consent agenda items, action items. Human resources is the first item, and I understand Neil Glines is presenting on behalf of Salabate. So good evening.
Nancy up here. It's on. My worst nightmare to hear my voice twice. Hello, my name is Neil Glines. I'm the Dean of Liberal Arts here at Solano Community College, and I have the honor and privilege today to celebrate the career of Janine Whitesell. For those of you who don't know Janine, let's take an opportunity to look in the back. Janine, please wave and say hello. Hi, Janine. Nice to see you. Janine will be retiring at the end of this term. Over the last 36 years, Janine has been an integral part of the Communication Studies Department, is one of the coaches of Solano's nationally recognized powerhouse speech and debate team. When I reached out to the forensics community to ask people to share their memories with their careers with Janine, there were far too many responses to share here this evening. As we all know, Board President Honeychurch preaches us staying on time. So I'll abbreviate some of these comments and just highlight some of the things that these people shared with us today. Some of the themes that emerged are Janine is fearless, curious, hysterically funny, confident, a positive light, a ray of sunshine, tireless professional, and an unwavering advocate for art. I was hired here at the district 25 years ago to communications and also coach the speech and debate team. And one of the things you find out coaching is you spend a lot of time with your colleagues and students and band rides you go to, and you're down at events and competitions. And so some things that you may not know about Janine that I've had the opportunity to find out is that Janine used to be a mime and a bouncer in the years of 1977 to 1980. And I just want to say, and I know I'm supposed to be talking to you, but I need to talk to Janine real quick. I appreciate the fact that you made me feel safer at a tournament that I was at with that bouncing experience that you had, and I appreciate that. Tom instructor Terry Pearson Bloom that convocations will not nearly be as fun without Janine entertaining us with her latest adventure. Shows you the presentation, know that Janine does an excellent job bringing the house down. You never know if there'll be a costume change, prop, music, or PowerPoint magic, but the one thing that you will know is at the start of the semester we'll always have laughs, and you also get a glimpse as why Janine is such a popular and dynamic instructor. Anna Patero, comm instructor and former speech and debate coach, shares the following. Janine Whitesell was instrumental in putting Solano Community College on the map in terms of interpretation of literature. In 1996, Janine's Preaching Theater won a gold medal at Spiral Pie Community College National Championship Tournament on the subject of Alzheimer's. Having the opportunity to coach with Janine was an unforgettable experience. I wish you all the best in retirement. Look forward to many performances in local theater. And finally, Greg Kopp, communications instructor, sports broadcasting instructor, and another former director of the speech and debate team, shares the following. Thank you for being a ray of sunshine and positivity for the Communication Studies Department over the decades. Janine, I remember the first time I met you when we both worked at the tab room at Saddleback Community College in 1989, state championship speech and debate tournament. I had just taken over the speech team at Riverside Community College, my first time working in the tab room. You were very warm, friendly, and personable. Even though tournaments can be super stressful, you made my first experience such a fun run. Several years later, you helped me get hired as Solano full-time instructor of French coach, which enabled me to resurrect my coaching career, and for that, I'm eternally grateful. We've certainly experienced a lot of success. You've been able to keep it going now, working with Doug, assisting him in keeping success going, and more importantly, making a difference in the lives of students who participate in our forensic program at Solano. By the way, you've also been one of the very best interpretation and literature coaches of your time. Thank you very much for your devotion to our students and your longevity as a person who truly makes a difference in each and every one of our students' lives. The people who come in contact with you are lucky, those who work with you are impressed, and those who get to know you are truly enriched. You will certainly be missed but never forgotten. And even though you're retiring, I suspect you have a few more performances left in community theater. Break a leg. So it's important that we not leave you on that note. So we're actually going to have a good public speaker come up and you're going to speak to you. That'll be the current director of the Forensic Speech and Debate Team, and that's Professor Doug Lund.
Hello, everyone. I'm Professor Douglas Mungin, the director of the Speech and Debate Team. I have had the honor to co-coach with Janine for her last ride of the last 8-9 years. The first part of her career, she was a national champion winning student. She then went on to become one of the first women director of forensics in the entire region. She then went on to become a nationally championship winning coach. And then the last 9 years, I think, has been the most beautiful part to witness. She has become a regionally nominated actress. She has become a community organizer. She has become a national championship winning coach and also a coach of the year national. And so I am working with greatness. And working with greatness, you start to realize you have to start to notice their habits. And in noticing the habits of greatness, you start to realize, wait, this person is kind of annoying about this one thing. And that one thing with Janine is working with students a little bit one time extra. And what I mean by this is that there would be a time where it's like, all right, that's the time, that's the allotted time that we're gonna work. And then Janine would say, one time more. And every time I would say, no, we gotta go, we gotta get out of here, it's way too late. One time more. And during that one time, the student would finally have that aha moment. The student would finally understand what the character motivation was. They would finally understand, like, oh, I can actually, like, not put my hands in my pocket. What? But it's through these moments that you realize excellence is born. It's through that repetition of excellence that Janine has taught me what greatness is. I didn't have this planned out. Earlier today, I was walking through the halls of the 700 building, and I saw a student, and there was this teacher that was just talking to them. And of course, the student wasn't in class for the last couple of class periods, but the teacher stood after class and was just talking about like how to get back on track and how to like really get back in focus. And it was in that moment that I realized that the energy of Janine will always be on this, that we are always striving for excellence. And every time that we say one more time and do this, we are achieving it. Thank you so much.
I wanted to say something about my colleague, and we've been together 3.5 decades. But if you think about Solano College, what makes Solano College stand out? And for 3.5 decades, the excellence of Solano College was our speech department, our forensics. They went to contests where there were major universities, and they kicked their butt. So that excellence doesn't happen automatically. That excellence is engineered, and that excellence is sitting right there retiring. In addition, she has recruited her successors to keep the program going, and I really wanted to recognize my friend and colleague. She is special, and we wish her. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much to the speakers, and congratulations on your retirement. To Janine Weitzel, it's hard to believe you're leaving this time. So all the best going forward. So is there a motion to approve the retirement?
I'm gonna vote against it. I'm gonna miss looking forward to seeing her do her little presentations at convocation. I have a secret. Most of the time I come to convocation to see what she has prepared for us, okay? Good luck in your retirement.
So we still need a motion.
Oh, was that a motion?
I'll move that we approve the retirement.
I'll second and say that's probably. I don't think we've seen her last convocation. I bet she's gonna come back for something.
back.
Yeah, I bet we're gonna see it.
All right. All right, thanks very much. And so there's been a motion to approve this important retirement, and it's been seconded. So all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. You're able to retire. Thanks very much for all your work over all these years. Appreciate it. Next, we're going to have to move on to the next item, which is a new job description, program coordinator for men's and women's tennis. Thanks for coming, everybody. And the presenter on this is Dr. Kelly Butler.
No, Dr. Williams.
Apparently the tennis pro is going to make the presentation.
Thank you, President Honeychurch and members of the board. We're presenting to you tonight two job descriptions in a new coaching model that the college is implementing here. As you know, when full-time faculty coaches no longer coach, whether they retire or they decide not to coach anymore, we have a difficult time replacing those people. There's a significant amount of work in coaching, not just during the season, but recruiting and all kinds of off-season work that coaches have to do. So this new model will help us fill these positions when they're vacant. We're presenting to you tonight two job descriptions, one for men's and women's tennis and one for women's softball. These are the two coaching positions right now that have been held by adjuncts. It's very challenging for adjunct faculty to lead a whole team, not the least of which we don't pay them a competitive wage in order to do that. And so this is meant to meet that need, and as more coaching positions become available, we will likely bring you back additional job descriptions. So we're actually presenting these two tonight for your consideration.
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve item 13B and C.
I second that motion.
Any further questions? Go ahead.
One comment, yeah. I just wanted to say I'm always willing to try new things that you present. I think I trust that this is a plan that we want to see and assess how it goes. I would say the one challenge I could foresee is with them not being faculty, embracing them into the faculty culture, and so maybe that's something that academic senate I may have some thoughts about like how do we embrace these coaches into the sort of Falcon like body thing as well too, so that they feel like they are supported in the same way as well. But I'm very happy to try things that you present.
Just
do all our athletic program, just so that we get a little idea of what's we've got and where we're going and how we're supporting our students.
Happy to do.
So, are there any further questions, comments? Not, all this, sorry. So, I think it's been moved and seconded to approve items B and C. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item is Finance and Administration. It's item D, contract award to Optima Inspections Incorporated for project inspection services for the Fairfield campus building, 200 shade structures, and I'm happy to say sandbox project.
Yes, thank you, President Honey, members of the board. I'm actually going to talk about both items D and F together. They're both inspection services for the same project. It's for our Early Learning Center for a Shade and Sandbox project. The first inspection is for all construction and administrative inspections, and then item F is for material and special inspections, and we ask that you approve these two.
I'll make the motion in that order as well too, to approve item 13D and F.
Aye.
I have as next is the non-resident and international student fee in between those two. So who's introducing this?
So on 13E, okay. This is the establishment of the non-resident and international student fees for 25-26. We have to bring this to the board every year to see if we need to make a fee adjustment. I'm happy to report that we're able to keep the fee the same as what we have for this year going into next year for our non-residents and our international students. And we ask that you approve these fees for the 25-26 academic year.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve this fees?
I'll make a motion to approve 13E and Rickwood.
I'll second. It needs a second. Yeah, there we go. You had multiple people
So
motion.
it's moved and seconded by two folks. Do you have a question?
I do.
Trustee Voice?
Just because we have, some new members on the board, and it's always nice to hear how we come to these things as well. Is there possible to give a 90-second version of the three formulas?
Yeah, absolutely. So the non-resident and international student fees are calculated based on a formula that the Chancellor's office provides us. We are able to pick from one of several different ways to pick that fee, either the statewide average, what a local district may be charging, or what our costs kind of go through. And so we're able to pick, we tend to pick the lowest of those three options. In your packet kind of goes through what those options are and how they're calculated. And so we always try to pick the lowest portion for our students.
I thank. Yes, of course. Yeah, comment on this.
Yes.
Motion.
First of all, thank you, Trustee Wittenvoice, for asking that question, because that was the question I was going to ask, but that was amazing. Thank you so much, VP Wheat, for explaining that. I just want to say, with affordability such a huge problem here in California, it's amazing that we're able to keep the fee the same for our international students. And I think that's amazing because, I truly believe that community college is a gateway to opportunities for any student there. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Trustee Carr, you have a comment as well?
And for all the other community colleges in our area, in terms of the price.
Yeah, so let me flip to that page. 1 second. So, statewide average cost, they have a formula, it's actually can go as low as 400. Highest statewide average cost though is 414. We're staying at 406. So between that, we have to be between that.
I was just thinking about Napa, Mount Diablo.
Right. So we kind of look at that and we're given all of that information. I believe we have Los Rios is the kind of the community, and they're at 406 also.
So Napa's at 406 as well.
Los Rios.
Los Rios. And Napa, do we know?
I don't have that off the top of my head, but I could get it for you.
Okay. No, I was just thinking that it might be a good idea that if when we have a chance that we just look at all the surrounding schools.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Direct competition.
Yeah, I can provide that all of that information to Superintendent President Butler, and she can send it out to you so you can see kind of where that's at across the state.
No, not so necessary now, but going forward, maybe that's part of the story that we
Absolutely, I can do that.
Thank you very much.
So we'll move on to the vote on this. This is establishment of non-resident and international student fees. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next is bond issues. Vice President Lofton should be available. There are a number of change orders in this part of the agenda.
Yes,
So,
thank you,
Vice
President
Lofton. Good evening.
Hi there.
So we're starting with your presentation on the bond, the contract amendment to ADIS Architects for architectural services for the campus.
Yes, that is for time extension. There is no cost associated with this particular change order. So we seek the board's approval to extend this contract in time only.
Is there a motion to approve item H?
I second that motion.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is a contract amendment to Tier Incorporated for project inspection services for the campus-wide refresh.
President Honeychurch, ma'am, suggest a motion. If anybody's welcome to offer a friendly amendment, if there's one you want to talk about individually or vote on differently, but otherwise I will make a motion to approve item 13I, J, K, L, M, and O, and that allows for discussion on all of those items as well too. Many of them are, oh sorry, I can wait for a second before I comment.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the items listed under the motion. Are there any questions on any of these, or any comments from Vice President Lofton on them?
These are generally contract change orders or purchase orders for technology equipment. So very self-explanatory.
I'll share two things. If we
Go ahead.
Thanks. So I'll mention that many of these are no cost to time extensions as well, but there are some with cost, especially around our hydraulic issues that we're dealing with. And so if you haven't heard about that, I Lucky presented a little bit on that before. But all of that has been expressed really, well in Measure Q committee. So we've gotten more detail about hydraulics than we ever knew we were going to know. so we thank you, Lucky, for always being willing to explain all those details. I also want to share that I asked during our Measure Q if it's required that all of these be non-consent agenda items, and it's not. So if we have a future interest in the board in approving some no-cost change orders in the consent agenda, we are at our discretion. So
We
I don't know.
should probably recognize and use our discretion.
Yeah, I would suggest that we do as well too. So especially no cost or warnings we can put into the consent agenda, and not but with that
I agree.
Yield.
So this is through item O. So all those in favor of the motions, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So they are all approved through O.
Can I
Sorry?
have a comment on whether?
You're not allowed to make any further comments.
Anymore. Well, I do want to caution that one of the good things about seeing these, it means that we get to see them. If they're not here, it's easy to forget. So I would like to see them. For the benefit of a couple of minutes of our time and paper, I think it's worth us seeing.
Wait, sure, I agree, but you'd still see them on the consent agenda.
I know, but it just, you know what I mean? Many a slip between cup and lip.
Sure.
I was gonna say, it doesn't have to be all or nothing, so we can set
Yeah.
the criteria. So maybe that's maybe a conversation
A
point
conversation,
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
a conversation.
All right, so that moves us to item E, which is presented by Vice President David Williams. It is an athletic agreement between Napa Valley College and Solano Community College.
Thank you, President Honeychurch and members of the board. As you can see, this is an agreement that dates back around about 40 years, back to 1983, an agreement between Napa Valley College and Solano Community College. Because we're so close in proximity, there's an agreement about which sports teams each college will have. So we're bringing this back to you for your approval. You will notice that there is a new sport added to Solano Community College. That's the women's beach volleyball. So other than that, we're very excited about that, by the way. But other than that, this is the agreement that you see every year. We're asking for your approval.
And thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agreement between Napa Valley College and ourselves?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
Moved and seconded to approve the agreement between Napa Valley College and Solano Community College. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries.
I know it's a little out of order because we voted, but can I make one comment too?
Of course.
I just wanted to second Trustee Kara's suggestion that we have some point where we talk about all our athletic, because there are some on here that we, like football still on here, the things, you know, we still have in our agreement, we still have that we won't offer men's soccer, and like, I know that we're not looking to add anything this year, so I'm fine approving it as it's been since 1980 something, before I was born, it sounds like.
Well, I was on the board at the time.
okay, sorry. But at some point, yeah, maybe we can have a clearer conversation about what athletics, if there is any interest in changing some of this agreement in the future agreement.
Right, I agree. It could be amended or changed as necessary. But we'll have to move on now to the renewal agreement between South Lake County Fire Protection District and Solano Community College.
Yes.
Williams?
Yes, this is an agreement with our fire technology program, and we have a wonderful relationship with South Lake County Fire Protection Agency that allows us to train our students in wildland fires, which we don't have the opportunity here. The rest of our training takes place in winters in Vacaville and places like that. So they allow us to go up there and use their space to train our students in this very important firefighting technique. Asking for your approval.
Right, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agreement between South Lake County Fire Protection District and the Solano College?
Move for approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions?
I was just really surprised that the cost was only $5,000.
It's really we're essentially paying their instructor to teach. So it's very inexpensive.
Yeah, I mean,
We appreciate that.
We really appreciate it, but I was very impressed with that. I thought that they must want to support us.
Well, I'm sure they hire some of our students when they graduate. They need them up there.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So, any other comments?
I do. Thank you. Thank you so much there, Vicki Williams, for your report. I just have a quick comment here. It's great that we have this program in place, but can I ask a question? Why is the agreement says that it will terminate on March 31st of 2025, sir?
We only go up there for a short period of time during the fire academy, so this covers the current years of training. We'll renew it again in successive.
Thank you so much.
All right. Any other questions, comments? If not, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, motion carries. So the next item is item R, right? Which is clinical training affiliation agreement for nursing, and between North Bay and ourselves at this college. Are you presenting that as well?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, this is a renewal agreement with North Bay. As you know, finding clinical assignments for our nursing and EMS students is very challenging, so we appreciate any collaboration we have. North Bay is very close to us, and so we're asking for your approval. for this clinical training affiliation.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the clinical training affiliation agreement?
I make a motion to approve agenda item 13R.
I second.
All right, thanks. It's been moved and seconded to approve this clinical training affiliation agreement for the nursing program. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. The next item is item S, which is Advanced Manufacturing Maker Space Dell Mobile Precision Workstation Computer.
And we're sending this to you tonight because it's a significant purchase of computers for our makerspace and advanced manufacturing program. Many of these programs and disciplines require special software and computers with higher function and memory. John will know all the terms. But this will allow our students to work with the most updated software to complete their program and be ready for the work.
Which is really important.
Was there a motion to approve?
I agree.
The
I
item?
move that we approve S.
All right,
Looking at the wrong
which is workstation computers motion. So is there a second?
I second that motion.
Thank you. Questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. And next, we're going back to Vice President Lisa Neely presenting under Student Services, a resolution honoring the 2025 Lunar New Year.
Thank you, President Honeychurch, and good evening, members of the board. While it's always an honor for me to be able to read the cultural heritage celebrations and resolutions on behalf of the board, I am happy, and also it's my pleasure to pass the proverbial mic to our newest governing board member to read the resolution. To you.
Thank you so much there, VP Neely, and also Superintendent President Butler for giving me this opportunity when I made this request here. The Lunar New Year is a special time for our Asian American community, and so I wanted to acknowledge that. And so if I may read the resolution, whereas January 29th, 2025 is the start of the Lunar New Year, which is celebrated in many Asian communities internationally, including in the United States and in California. Whereas California is home to nearly 6 million Asian and Pacific Islander Americans of Bangladeshi, Cambodian, Chinese, Filipino, Hmong, Indian, Indonesia, Luming, Japanese, Korean, Laotian, Malaysian, Pakistani, Sri Lankan, Taiwanese, and Vietnamese descent. Whereas Asian and Pacific Islander Americans comprise nearly 16% of our state's population and have greatly contributed to the social, cultural, civic, economic, and academic success of California. Whereas Lunar New Year is predominantly celebrated by 2.5 million Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese, and Lumian residents of California. Whereas Lunar New Year traditions include celebrating with families, handing out red envelopes, which are symbols of good luck and prosperity, and ending on the 15th day of the lunar year with a celebration of the Lantern Festival. Whereas the 2025 Lunar New Year is a year of the wood snake, symbolizing good luck, new opportunities for growth and regeneration. Whereas the diverse Lunar New Year celebrations take place in communities throughout California, highlighting the state's rich Asian and Pacific Islanders' cultural and religious history. Whereas student leaders through the college's Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Student Achievement Program have created and led vibrant campus-wide Lunar New Year celebrations that educate, inform, and honor our diverse AA and HPI communities, establishing what promises to become a cherished annual tradition at Solano Community College. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Solano Community College District Governing Board does hereby adopt this resolution to recognize January 29, 2025 as the beginning of the Lunar New Year and extends best wishes for a peaceful and prosperous Lunar New Year to all. Passed and adopted this 19th day of February 2025 by the Governing Board of the Solano Community College District. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all your work on this resolution. So is there a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution. Very good job.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 24/25-12, honoring the 2025 Lunar New Year. So please call the roll.
Is there a friendly amendment just to change the January to February? Thank you for catching that.
Trustee Boyce.
Aye.
President Honeychurch.
Aye.
Trustee Kara.
Aye.
Trustee Cargo Reed.
Aye.
Trustee Wynn Greer.
Aye.
Trustee Thurston. Trustee Young. And student. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and congratulations on this great resolution.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it. Now we'll move on to Technology Services Vice President John Corneliuson is presenting approval of a statement of work with Foresight Solutions.
Thank you, President Honeychurch, members of the board. Up for your approval is a contract or statement of work with Foresight to provide technical services and do an assessment for our Microsoft cloud environment. So we are heavily invested in the Microsoft platform for many things, including email, personal or work-related storage device, file storage like OneDrive, things like that. And this suite that we use is called Microsoft A5, has a lot of security features. And as we know, technology changes really quickly. And so what we configured 3 to 5 years ago needs to be updated. So this is a complete assessment of all those features, as well as help us prepare to roll out multi-factor authentication for all of our employees here, which is second level authentication beyond a password.
Is there a motion to approve the agreement? Is there a second? Any further discussion, questions? Not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Vice President Corneliuson. Next item is information items, no actions required. We have a presentation by Vice President Susan Wheat regarding the budget update for the second quarter.
Thank you, VP Williams. Sharing my screen here so that you can see it on the board. It's also in your packet. Make it a little bit smaller, but where we can still see it. This is, the first page is just the table of contents. It has a summary of our governor's January proposal, the update for the second quarter, our 3/11 quarterly report that we submit to the chancellor's office that ties them both together to show that we're reporting what we're reporting here at the board meeting. And then I'm proud to say that at the end of this is our index of those categorical grant names that was requested at the last to show you exactly what all of those grants are for. Make a little bit bigger so we can all see it. So this is the governor's January proposal, just a summary of it. As you may know, the January proposal came out early January. After it came out, everything changed. When it came out, he was predicting a balanced state budget, and then the fires happened. So we don't know how that's going to change the state budget come the May revise. We also know we have a new president for the United States, and we don't know how that may change the state budget going forward as well. So as always with the January proposal, we take it with a grain of salt and we look at it, we make some projections based on it, and then we wait for that May proposal. Between January and May, our chancellor's office is talking to our legislators, looking at all the things what may not have been included that we really wanted to be included, and things of that nature. One of the things I wanted to highlight is it did propose a 2.43% cost of living adjustment for our student-centered funding formula and for some categorical programs. Hopefully that will stay in there, that we can then pass along to our employees. There was a couple of very few one-time only items on there. Two of them are statewide technology platforms or transformations. This is a statewide, it doesn't come to the districts. It's for this chancellor's office to kind of look at how that technology can be enhanced. statewide for there. We do have a proposal in there for expanded credit for prior learning, as Professor Scott mentioned from the Academic Senate. That's one thing that they're looking at. The state is always also looking at that as well. And then it has an expansion of the Rising Scholars Network, which we have one of the largest Rising Scholars programs in the state of California. So this is just showing the rest of California what they can do with it. So allowing for a little bit more ongoing funds for that. Hopefully, we'll see how it comes out in the May revise. This is the second page is a summary. I'll go through it as we go through the different pages so you can see it. But if you ever want to go back to that, it is there. This is our general fund, so our unrestricted fund. A little bit of change in our revenue, up a little bit from our adopted budget and from our Q1 budget. That's as changes come from our full-time enrollment status of our students. As those increase, we get a little more funding that way, so that went up. Of course, with that, our expenditures went up slightly as well, to just kind of, as things progress, as we have more students, we have more expenses that go along with that. But overall, we still have our planned deficit spend, as we're trying to spend down that reserve. It is less than what we anticipated at the time of the adopted budget. If we go to the next page, this is our breakdown of that ending fund balance on that unrestricted fund. So anticipated our ending fund balance to be around 32 million at the end of this fiscal year. We have the salary improvements from 22-23 that we're taking out of that reserve over that 5-year period. We have a couple more years left on that. We have the technology non-capital expense reserve for about 869,000. This came about when we had that surplus from the 1 year. 80% goes back to the employees. The other 20% we're putting into this technology and non-capital expense reserve when we have those unforeseen expenses that come up in those areas. We also have our STRS and PERS reserve and our OPEB, or other post-employment benefit reserve, that have been in there. Bringing our stability reserve, which, our minimum required 5% reserve and our remaining stability reserve in there. That required and stability reserve ratio is about 26.1%. It is higher than our adopted budget, but pretty stable from where we were at in Q1. That will change as we finish out the year. The next page is our federal funding. And I want to talk a little bit about our federal funding, because that's kind of in the news a little bit about possible stopping of federal money for certain education and other areas that may be having DEI initiatives and educational reforms. Those funds that they were talking about in that are not these funds. These funds are protected, so we shouldn't have to worry. I'm not going to make guarantees, but on what we use our federal programs for are not what were talked about in the executive order. So I want to give a little bit of calmness in that area, a little bit of reassurance that what we have for our federal programs are somewhat protected. No change in our federal programs from the adopted budget through Q1 or Q2. That remains steady. Our state restricted funds, we have a long list of all of our grants that we have and our budget for them. Again, the index at the end goes through all of these and where they're at. A couple of things that I wanted to point out from what was talked about earlier tonight is those zero textbook costs, that we do have that funding available, that we are using to further enhance our zero textbook offerings that we have. And there was one other one. I should have written it down. And I didn't, but it'll come to me when I least expect it now. Sorry, I should have written it down. It was something that was talked about in one of the reports, and I was like, oh, I'll talk about that when I talk about the budget, and I apologize for not writing that down. Overall, we have a little bit higher state revenue from, or state budget from the adopted budget. That's from having those exact carryover amounts and the actual allocations come through. So it's about $3 million more than what we had in the adopted budget, but right on par with what we had at Q1. Next page is our local funds. Revenues and expenses, it's a zero balance budget, so they will always equal each other. They went up slightly from Q1 with some additional local resources that we had come in since that. And the next page shows that how that breaks down between the different local funds that we have. This is our outlook on our other funds and what we have. So we talked about our general and our restricted state and federal. These are all of our other funds, our debt services, child development, Measure Q, student body center fee, and the such. If you see ones that have an adjusted beginning balance of 0 and an ending fund balance of 0, that's because they are a zero balance budget. It means our revenue equals our expenses. And that's why those come out to 0. So they don't have an ending balance. And then again, we have our 311Q report. This ties out to everything that we just talked about in our unrestricted fund. And then after that, are kind of going over that index of those categorical grant names. So there's some duplicates in there because we've gotten some one-time and some ongoing money. So I only listed it once. They are in alphabetical order, and it not only gives the name, but what it's for and kind of a little bit of back each of them. I figured while this is available in our compendium, it's, as Trustee Carr stated, it's good to have for not only the board, but for our public that's seeing this as well. So there are several pages there because I didn't want to make it too small that you can read it, that it has it there. And I would be glad to answer any questions that anybody.
I thank you for that comprehensive report on the financial situation. So, any questions?
It's 146 to 156, where you have the index of categorical grant names, and you have the fund name, the definition, and the usage, which I would make a copy of so that when I see those names in other documents, I can go to this list and get the definition of each one. I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate Trustee Carr for suggesting that for that. Absolutely. It's easy to do now that I have it. It's just, you just add one or two here and there, so.
Thank you, thank you.
All right. Thanks again for your report.
Thank you.
The next item is announcements. Are there announcements from the board? You do? Go ahead.
Hi, so I just wanted to invite everybody that on February 22nd in Vacaville, down at the steps of City Hall, we are having a prayer circle, and it's all faiths. Anybody and everybody is welcome. It's at 650 Merchant Street in Vacaville, and you know, we just want to come together in peace and unity and for prosperity. Pray for our elected officials, our state, you know, our students, whatever's on your heart. So you're all welcome to come. Just wanted to let you know.
Thank you.
It was just the local churches of Vacaville are coming together down there for an hour from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. on this Saturday. But I also know you have something very special going on too.
Yeah, go ahead. All right, thank you. Any other announcements? If not, items from the board? Any items from the board in particular? Interest in something that? Nope, okay.
You know,
All right, so move on to adjournment. I'll call on trustee Avery Young, representative from Vallejo, to give the,
When I start talking, I don't know when to stop, so I won't announce anything, okay?
that's fine.
I'll move that we adjourn.
Trustee Thurston? So it's moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No, there's no opposition. So the motion carries.